everyone, welcome to our first live. I'm just going to bring up some comments on here, so bear with me while you jump on. Hope everyone had a good Christmas and New Year break. And hopefully I'll be able to see people when they're here. Alrighty. I may be delayed with some of the comments, but I'm going to try my best. Hi Karen, I have listed all the supplies in the subject or in the description above, or it might be below. Hi Gail. Hi Carrie, Donna, Susie. If I do miss anything, I will come back and get it. I've done some pre-cutting tonight so that we don't have to spend time cutting. We can focus on the other fun stuff. So I'm getting lots of highs from Sally, Erica, Cheryl. I'm so glad you've caught us, Cheryl. We love our newbies here. There's nothing wrong with them. Alrighty. I may start to sweat a bit. I've turned the fan off in my craft room because, well, you won't be able to hear me if it's on. It's a big industrial fun one. I might even just bring these comments close because I feel like I can't read them. And I don't know where my stand is. Every live I lose something and I'm super not prepared, so bear with me while I find my stand. And please say hi. Hi Liz. Alright, looks like I'm not getting a stand. Unless it's in my drawers. No. Alright, so oh, is it hot in Melbourne? Oh, alrighty. I'm gonna get started so we don't run out of time. As I said, I apologise if I don't see your comments because I've got limited. I have to find my stand. What we are doing is making a couple little signs to go with this sign that I made over the Christmas break while I was off. So the flowers used in this project were flowers that were either already in Design Space or that I created the templates for in Design Space so that we could use them for the Better Homes and Gardens issue that I had a little feature in. We're not going to do any writing on the ones that I'm doing tonight, but nonetheless I'll show you how to do every single one of these flowers. I'll talk about what supplies I've used, where you can buy it from, and we can go from there. So I'll just sit this down here, and I'm probably missing everybody's comments. Alrighty, so just to get started, the first thing that I will be doing is making a stencil or a template. Now I've already pre-stenciled one, although in the hot weather it's sort of cracked a little bit, you can probably see if you get up close, but I find that that's okay, like the paint just dried super thick and cracked. But we're going to show you the stenciling part first before we start playing with these awesome flowers. So what I have gotten are these smaller hanging boxes from Spotlight. I think these ones were $5 and the big ones are $7 or something. I just figured they'd look really nice like hanging next to each other. And eventually when I decide on a concrete layout for my craft room, they will hang. I just don't know where I'm putting everything yet because I've got so much everywhere else. The stencil that we're going to be using is the Cricut stencil vinyl. You can get it from Spotlight. It is basically just a stencil that is like probably more removable than removable vinyl. It has an adhesive enough so that it can just be adhered to surfaces. It's clear so you can actually see what you're putting it on. I think I've done stencils, and when I did that stencil before, I did it using just a removable vinyl from Cricut from maybe a pack that I had in a colour that I don't use a lot, maybe like a brown or something like that. But my problem was when I was putting it on, I couldn't see what I was where I was putting it, so I couldn't tell if it was going to be even, and as such the words ended up off to one side. So my stencil design is quite simple and basic. It's not as straightforward as one outline as this one, but I'm actually going to hand transfer this. However, normally you can use just your like your transfer tape to do the transfer. I just want to transfer it using my hand because it is a really basic shape, and so I'm just peeling it off. You could cut down your vinyl or your stencil to the size of your design, but I'm just going to play with it. Now I'm probably missing everyone's comments because it's not actually flashing. Hi Kylie, you're a newbie. Oh, welcome Kylie, we love having newbies. So I'm just going to hand place where I want this. Now I made all my stencils roughly 6.5 inches wide, and that is because the inside of these hanging boards are about just over 8 inches, and I guess I like I wanted it to fill the whole space basically. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm literally just hand placing it on. I have pre-prepped these boards, so I've prepped them with a coat of Mod Podge. Now that is, for those who don't know, I just used this and just gave it a thick brush over, just so that it had something that the vinyl or the stencil could stick to. And what I'm going to do is just a really light burnish at the moment, just so that I can make sure I've got it all in place and no major bubbles. Now I've got some little pieces of my pair of scissors, if you haven't already guessed what I'm doing a stencil of, and I'm just going to hand place them in here. But what I'm also going to do is, if it's not hot enough already, is I'm going to use my heat gun just to get the stencil to stick a little bit better. So bear with me, and I'll move everything else out of the way in the meantime because I don't want to risk heating anything up that I don't need heated. So I just give it a nice burnish, but the heat will actually help. So I'm just going to bring it closer to you guys. Yeah, Carla, all of the supplies I've listed the links to above in the description. So I will tell you as I go through when I get them where I got them from, but for the actual link to the item, you can check out the description. So I'm just going to, now this is where it gets a little bit tricky because you don't want to get too much heat, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of a quick burst and then use my scraper tool just to stick it down a little bit. So I've just given it a touch. I didn't even want to get too close because I don't want to risk the stencil vinyl bubbling. So I'm just giving it a push down, and this corner is just giving me a bit of grief here, but I will get there. Alright, it's really hot in here already. Thank you to everyone who is answering the questions in my absence. It's really hard when we're doing these lives to check the comments and do the projects at the same time, so I really appreciate it. Oh, stay down. This one corner is killing me. So just give that a bit of a burst. And what it's done is it's kind of shrunken the vinyl or the transfer just so it stays put. Now, it's not stuck down like a normal vinyl, so you've got to be careful not to think that this is going to be like every other vinyl that you get. It's meant to be able to be lifted back up. So the next step I'm going to do is going to get a paintbrush. This is literally just a Crafter's Choice paintbrush from Spotlight or somewhere. The reason why I wanted to use this one is I found that the bristles don't really come out of it like some cheaper paintbrushes. I also like that it has a really nice crisp edge, because even though I've got a stencil here, it's always really good to try and stay within the design. Oh, I don't need the Mod Podge, I need the paint. So the paint that Norma, yeah, we're going to stencil some designs that will go with this that I made over Christmas. So keep an eye out, you'll see it all happen, and we'll get there in the end. Yeah, so this is the chalk paint that I'm using. I've gotten it in a bunch of different colours. I love their pastels mainly. I've had it for about a year. I got it from Choice discount store, but I'm sure you can purchase it online. It's called the Little Birdie collection. It's a home decor collection, and this is just a matte chalk acrylic paint. So you can use any kind of paints you like. You can get chalk paint from Spotlight, you can get chalk paint from Kmart these days. I don't have a link for this because, I mean, where I bought it from doesn't have online ordering. So what I'm going to do, just because I just realized that my paintbrush is, oh no, that'll work. I'm just going to dip my paintbrush in. Now, oh, there's bugs everywhere. So I'm just going to, before I start painting, just push down with my fingers in the area I'm about to paint in, just to make sure that the stencil is down. Now this paint will require a couple layers, which I think is what my issue is with my other one that cracked, because I was trying to rush it, getting it done and dry, and I think I probably put the layers on too quickly. So I will do a layer, and then I will come back and do another layer, but it will be after the live. So I'll start on this one, and then I'll finish that one, and then I'll finish this one off the video, off the live. Now you can use a foam brush, but I really just don't like the dabbing look of a foam brush. So I'm literally just going to paint here, and I hate the idea of like those big black gaps where the boards meet up. So I try and paint down into the groove a little bit there, just so I can get, you know, a nice clean look. But as I said, the first layer is just to get a little bit of colour on it. Oh, pardon me. It doesn't have to have perfect brush strokes in the first, just as long as it's an even coat. And like my original one, I just kind of have to trust the process, because even if it turns out like I didn't want it to, it's all a process. So what I've just done is I've just done a paint around it. I'm going to let it dry and come back and finish with another coat later. But when you finish, you just peel off your transfer or your stencil, and you can go from there. Now, I wouldn't normally leave my paintbrush with paint on it, but I'm in a live and I don't really want to leave you guys to go to the bathroom to go and wash my paintbrush. I'll hope that it works later and deal with it then. Hi, Karen. Alrighty, calcium can be, what are you talking about? I've lost half of this. Fun fact, you can turn any paint into chalk paint by adding a little calcium. That is a fun fact. I did not know that. I'm not a scientist. But it's handy to know, because sometimes you can't get chalk paints in the... Glad wrap's just as far to go. I'm gonna come back to it. Hopefully it won't be dried out. Hi Brenda, I'll see you Saturday. So the next step that we're going to get into is our flowers. So I've got 3 different flowers to show you how to put together and roll. We'll start off with the azalea. Now I've made this super small. I think it's about, I don't even know the size. It's about 2.5 inches in size. So I've done one, and I'll show you how to make it. So the template's a above for you to cut at home and make yourself. I've already pre-cut all my templates so that this can be a little bit more seamless. Alrighty, so it comes with, and I do apologize, it comes with, get out of the way. Where is the other piece? Yeah, comes with 5 pieces plus 2 little gold ones. Now the color that I've used for this one today is this purpley color. It's called Periwinkle from Kaisercraft. So I really love purple, and that was one of my favorites. So I'll start by assembling. What I'm doing to each of the 5 petals, regardless of the size, is going to be the same process. So if you can do it with one, you can do it with all. Hi everyone, if I've missed anything, I'll catch up. So what I do to start with is I sort of bend the petals on each of them in half. So I use a ruler because I find that is super handy just to get a nice crisp line. Don't judge me. I don't know why you judge me, but like, I just get a nice little line so that you kind of end up with this weird shaped starfish. Now these petals aren't perfectly even or anything like that, and they're done like that by design because nothing is perfect in nature. So next I'm just going to get a little skewer. Obviously if you do big flowers you'd probably use like a pencil or something bigger, but a skewer is perfectly fine for this. And so what you want to do is you want to grab sort of the skewer and place the petal on the top and roll the petal on both sides back. So I'll show you. So it kind of does that sort of a motion. I don't know if that makes sense. Can you see that? It's sort of, the top is bent back, so you just kind of go round. I usually do all one side and then I'll come back and do the other side because it's just quicker. Oh my God, I'm sweating balls. Alrighty, so we're just bending them, and look, there's no perfection, just bend them till they have some shape to them. I'm going to just do these. See, they're not all the same shape. It's really hot in my craft room. Oh. So I'm just going to line these ones up and do them together, do their little ruly bend together. And it's just to create some dimension because, you know, like, they're not perfect, and I don't expect everyone to make perfect flowers, but you just bend the petals back. This is so easy to do, and I guarantee you all of you can do it. All of you are capable of doing it, and I'd love to see all of you make some because these are just that easy. So you're just curling the tops until they have some shape to them. Come on, breeze. Sorry, there's a window behind you guys and I'm getting a bit of a breeze and it's amazing. So I'm just curling and curling. You could use some ink on these, any of you scrapbookers. Erica, those bow ties for your dogs are gorgeous, so don't even complain. You can make some over the weekend and share with me. I can't wait to see what you guys all make. So it's really, like, they look, you sit there and you look at them and you think, oh, how's that going to turn into a pretty flower? But it's magic. And it will all work out in the end. So, oh, hot. Bow tie Thursday. Okay, is that a thing in the Grub household? What am I missing here? Hi, Alison. You can always watch the replay back, so don't feel like you're going to miss anything. Our lives are always going to stay on our page. So all you would simply need to do is we'll add it to the list in the announcement section, but if you want to go jump to it specifically, you could probably search Natalie Paper Flowers and find my video, and my face will come up probably. So as you go forward more, it gets a little harder to get the shape out of them, but as long as you're getting some shape, it doesn't really matter how they look. Now, the middle one, if you were doing a bigger flower, I would definitely curl all the edges and stuff on it. But because it's so small, you're not even going to notice a curl on the edges. So for this one, because it's tiny, like this thing is like an inch wide, I'm not going to bother curling the edges up on it. So I should have put my hot glue gun in to warm up. So what have we got here? We have my glue gun, which I'll tell you guys about. Now, I've gone through that many different glue guns. It's not funny to try and find what works best for me. I've done the cordless thing, and I found that they just didn't stay charged for long enough, and even if you had them on charge for like all day, when you took them off to use them, they'd still only last like half an hour, and it just didn't really work for me. Look, you could, Evelyn, so you could, but I mean, I like the fact that it's not an even line. So you could definitely do that, but I think what I'm doing is creating a curve more to the petal and not so much as an indent. So when you score, it will actually create an indent into the cardstock. But when I curve it around the ruler, it doesn't actually indent it that much. Like, it's not like it's going to create a sharp or harsh looking line. I mean, by all means, you can definitely see if that you can add those score lines to it in Design Space, but I mean, I personally wouldn't do it because I love the fact that they're all a bit uneven and fun. I'm just trying to see if I've missed anything while my hot glue gun warms up. Okay, so I've gone through all the different hot glue guns. I've settled on a Shaw Bonder one. I mean, they do have, they're dual temp, so they do have like the ability to leak a little bit. But I don't have any issues with them. I love that they've got a little stand on them. I've got the mini and the regular size one. So the regular size one stands up, I guess. The mini, I just think, has a nicer nozzle for something like small flowers. So I'm using my mini today. I went and bought the large one you had with the large glue sticks and a rope. Yeah, I definitely have both of them. I love my Shaw Bonders. Glue gun is from Spotlight. I've put the link above as well. So I'm just going to wipe off the little dribble. But these are super easy. I just kind of like bend my flowers a little bit. It's literally just a case of popping, like holding them like this, popping a dab of glue, and sort of arranging the petals so that they are in between the prior petals, so you end up with a bit of a star happening. And so grab the next one, and I literally just scrunch them up. Like, I'm not fussy with how I put them together because I know that they will turn out amazing. Once again, you just try and nestle them between the other petals. Doesn't matter if you don't get it perfect because they're going to look amazing and nature's not perfect. So I've done the same one with there's 3 large ones, 1 medium one, and 1 small. So I just kind of slowly make my way into the center. And I'm sorry if you can't get a really close-up view. I just can't get the camera closer to where I am at the moment because I got a big box down there. And as much as I was organized for this, I kind of wasn't at the same time. So put my little one on. So I'm just going to nestle it in here. And what I'm going to use is I'm just going to use my quilling tool just to like hold it down because I can't really quite get down there and I don't want to have glue all over my fingers. And I've got a piece of hair just there and it's annoying me because I'm sweaty. Alrighty. Alrighty, so I haven't missed much. Everyone's just talking about the glue gun, which is amazing, by the way. Now with these little, the stamen, I literally just fold them all up so that they're super like together. I don't know if you can see that with my fingers, my fat fingers, but I literally, they just end up, I guess all standing up. It's hard to see. I'm like trying to see what they look like to you guys, but it doesn't look as great as what I anticipated it would. So I literally just get a dab of the hot glue. I don't squeeze the trigger, I just take a dab off the edge, which creates cobwebs, but whatever, we'll deal with that. And I just put it in the middle of my other piece of stamen, which is, there should be 2 for each flower. And then I just fold it up like I did with the first one, just so that it's a really full stamen. Get off me. So when I'm, get off me. So when I'm finished, it sits up. So I'll just see, make sure you guys can see that. My hand colors are terrible for this. Hang on. Does that work? Does that make it look better? How? Ugh. This is terrible. But it literally just looks like a little crumpled piece of paper. Sorry if it's not as pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hot glue gun, pop him in the center of my, pop some glue in the center, grab my quilling tool and put it sort of in the center of my stamen and push him down into the center of the flower. So you just kind of give him a bit of a push just to keep him all in place. And then we end up with a flower. I'll just wait and see. So that's how he turns out. And he's just, there's like absolutely no perfection to that. It's literally just slapped together, but it just proves that you guys can all do them too. So that's the first flower. All of the flower links are also listed. I'm pointing up like as if it's above, so I don't know if it's above or below me. All of the links for every single flower, I've either provided the image, number, and design space, or the link to the project. So these are 100% available to you. I think you might have to have Cricut Access, but I mean, I've created some of them just out of using Access shapes and whatnot. So by all means, you can all access them. It's not a file that you have to pay for outside. It's all done in Cricut Design Space. So the next one I'm going to show you, most of you have already done one of these before. It's just the rolled flowers, but for those newbies who haven't seen it, I wanted to show you because these are super cute to add to each and every project that you do with paper. I just love them. Now I've made this one, I've cut it at about 3 inches. A surefire sizing guide is that if you want your flower to turn out to be about 1 inch wide, you cut it at 3 inches. If you want it to be about 2 inches wide, you cut it at 6 inches. So the width of your flower, your finished flower, will determine what size you need to cut it on. So I wanted my flower to be about 1 inch wide, and as an example, this is a 3-inch flower. I cut the same size as this pink one, and it is only about 1 inch on the ruler. So the finished size is about 1 inch. Perfect for what I want, because I want to be able to nestle it in. So I'm going to use my quilling tool. Now, for those of you who have not seen a quilling tool or don't know where to get one, this is a Cricut one, and it comes in the paper, what's it called? the paper crafting tool set. I guess it comes with a quilling tool, a little poker tool, and like a sort of like a safety mat so that when you're poking holes in things, you're not stabbing your desk and stuff like that. So you simply just, it's got a little, I don't know, you can't really tell, but when you've got this quilling tool, it's got like a little line down the middle that you can put your paper in. So it just holds it in place neatly, but it's not too tight that it's gonna rip your paper or anything like that. So it just holds your paper in there, and I literally just put it in, put my finger there to start with, and I just start rolling. And it just came off, hang on. Of course it comes off when you're doing a live. So you just start rolling and rolling. I mean, my mum loves these, and she used to make all my rolled flowers for me, but she prefers to use tweezers, but each to their own. I can't work it with tweezers, it just doesn't work for me. I need a quilling tool. I'm literally just spinning right now, like there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I'm just spinning the tool. I get to the end though, because it's quite small, I don't really want to get caught up with the paper, so I get to the end and I just hold it top and bottom and I just continue to roll it. When I get right down to here, I just sort of bend the little bottom piece because that will get glued onto the bottom. And I literally just work out how I want it to sit, place it on the table, let it unravel a little bit because I like the idea of it being a little bit unraveled. It's sort of sitting how I'd like it to, so I pick it up, pull over that little bit again, come back here, pop a dab of glue on it and push it back over. So, and that's a little rolled flower. Like it probably could have been tighter, but I wanted it sort of a bit loose so you can just sit in between. So as an example, you can do them super tight, you can do them loose. Like I can still see through the bottom here, but once it's on the board, you're not going to notice that it's not a super tight flower, but you can definitely make yours tighter, which if that's the case, I just wouldn't sit on the table and let it unravel. I'd just get it glued straight away as soon as it was finished. Something like a homemade tool I've made to make miniature roses, just need a little needle with the top of the eye cut off. Like that's definitely something you can do. I mean, I'm a bit OCD, I like all my tools to match. It also has a bit wider, so it works with a lot of thicker cardstocks, whereas other quilling tools I've gotten that weren't Cricut ones, they were just quilling tools. Because quilling is made for thinner paper, I always found it really difficult to work with the thicker cardstock, like your AC Cardstock or your Kaisercraft cardstock with them, because the hole wasn't really made, or the little slot wasn't really made to be used with thicker materials. So it just depends on what you like to work with. Alrighty, so that flower was done in the same color. There's nothing to really explain there. The next flower we're going to talk about is the ruffled dahlia, is what it's labeled on Design Space. Now, this creates this design, it cuts 10, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, creates 10 of the same design essentially. Now when I made the pink one that's here, I didn't actually use all 10. I ended up only using 8, and I think that's just because of the size. Like it was such a small flower that I didn't need that extra layers, it was just getting too crowded. But when you make them bigger, definitely use the all 10, and depending on how big you make them, you may even need to add some more layers in. So I'm going to grab about 3 at a time. Now it's really hot in here and I can't even see what the time is, sorry, to make sure I'm going okay. So I'm just going to grab out, because I'm going to use just the end of a paintbrush, and what I'm going to do is literally just curl it around the paintbrush so that it creates sort of like a curve on both sides up. Why did you not turn on? Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I can see everything. So just another curve up. And another curve up. It's so simple, these designs. Thanks, Norma. I just like to keep track of the time. I just, you know, haven't even had dinner. I'm terrible. My husband works nights, and so I always forget dinner until it's like stupid o'clock and it's too late to eat. So I'm literally just doing the same thing on every petal. I'm doing 3 layers at a time just so that it saves time. Oh, that breeze is amazing. I have a fondant tool that works well with flowers. Look, honestly, whatever tool you've got. I mean, I don't make cakes. Like, I like eating them, but I don't make them. So I don't have any fondant tools. But I'm literally just curling the petals up around an old paintbrush, like a really cheap old paintbrush. You can use pencil. You can use, I know people who make flowers all the time. Like, there's those ones out there that sell them for ridiculous prices. I mean, it's worth it because they're handmade, but on Etsy, and I think they have a specific size wooden dowel to use for each specific size flower that they do, and that's so that it gets the curls consistent and they're not playing around. So like, that's their tools though. It's like me going out and getting a quilling tool. So I'm just going to leave 2 off only because I know that I didn't use all of them for the other one that was the same size. This is a 3-inch wide one, but you can make them any size you like. You literally don't have to stick to this. Well, the sizes in the links above aren't the sizes I've used tonight. They're just the flower sizes. I think they're the sizes I used for the Better Homes and Gardens features. Well, some of the flowers. So I'm just popping this in. So they're all looking really much the same, just like a little flower. And then you just sort of start with one, pop a dab in the middle. Try not to use too much glue because then it's thick, it like gets too, what's the right word? It gets too like high in the middle and then it's less petite looking, I guess. So I just start with just a couple, and you just like the other flower, you just offset the petals to each other. So once I'm about 3 in, I just sort of, you just pick it up, make sure, but then you can start bending your petals up so they sit upright a little bit more. And like I said, just offset them. There's no perfection. There's literally, you can do them however you want. I mean, I've got one up on the wall. This file doesn't actually come with the little stamen in the middle. I cut it from the other file. So the file with the azalea, you'll have to cut the little gold stamens for this one out of there too. I just didn't save it in the file because you can do this one so full that you don't even need to have a stamen in the middle, but I really liked it being opened up with the stamen as opposed to like a big ball. So I just start to sort of scrunch them up like I did with the other ones. I don't really put any method into this. I don't know. I feel like however they turn out, they're going to turn out amazing, and at the end of the day, I just have to be happy with them. I'm not going to be pedantic and whatnot. So just going to keep going with the same process. Like, it's really repetitive work, but they turn out amazing. And as I said, you can make them any size you like. They will look amazing on walls. They will look amazing in shadow boxes. They will look amazing on photo frames or canvases, or even around a reverse canvas it would look amazing on. Hi Suzette. So I'm just putting my last lot of petals in. And I'm just, I don't know if I didn't explain very well, but I'm literally just using the end, because even though I'm using a hot glue gun and it's on the other side of the cardstock, it does get hot in there. So I'm just pushing it down just to make sure it also sits. So currently at the moment it just looks like that, and I'm literally going to do the same thing I did with my stamen for here and stick it in. So just pop my stamen in, pop a little bit of glue on the end, pop that down onto my other stamen. And look, I'm not a florist either, so I don't know what all the flowers are supposed to look like in nature. Like, I like looking at pretty things, but I couldn't tell you what one flower looks like compared to another. I know what a rose looks like. That's about it. So, oh, Alicia, I'm so glad you caught it too. So, this is our first live back, and we're going to try and kick it off and have some really exciting different projects. And even though you might see stuff that like processes we've done before, we're just going to start sharing things like links to things so that you can get inspired by more, because you might see us cutting cardstock or doing something, but you might not like it until you see it done another way. So I'm just using the end of the little skewer just in the middle of the stamen to push it down to make sure it's all nice and glued, which it is. So my flowers ended up like that. Oh. Now what I haven't done, because I forgot to, is I haven't linked you guys with the file for the leaves, but it is in Design Space. It is a free file in Design Space. Before I do that, I'll go through what my papers were, just so that you know. I have listed it above, but I'll go through and let you know where I got all my papers from. So as I said before, this one is Periwinkle from Kaisercraft. The turquoisey colour is just an off one from Kmart. Now they came in packs that were like A4 size, not the 12 by 12 sheets. So this one was just from Kmart. This green actually came in a pack that I got from the US from Cricut, so it's not available in Australia at this, well, I don't know if they're getting them in, I don't know, but it's, I liked the green because it wasn't like a super bright green. It had a little bit of a khaki tinge to it. I don't know if you can tell. This one here was called Capri from Kaisercraft, so it's kind of like a, I don't know, like a Tiffany bluey kind of color. It's hard to tell in the light because it makes it look like a bright blue, but it's literally like a light Tiffany blue. So see if that shows it a bit better. This one here was, it's an American it is an American Crafts Peony color from Spotlight. I don't know if this is, I don't know, because they change their range quite often, so I don't know if this is a color that's still in stock, but there are some other stockists online that sell American Crafts cardstock. And this literally was a cheap $2.50 pack I got from Spotlight. It came with gold and silver in it, and it's just a shimmer paper. I got it for $2.50 because my Spotlight was shutting so that they could relocate, so they were like getting rid of stuff super cheap. I don't even know what brand it was. It was just a pack of 50 pieces of cardstock, and I love the shimmer to it. It just makes the perfect stamen. So I just keep everything consistent so that they all look the same. So what we're going to do is, even though this is cracked paint, I'm still going to use it because, you know, it's handmade and, you know, I like it. I still love it. So I'm going to work out the placement of my flowers. So 100% I know that I don't want a little pink flower and a little purple flower with another big pink or big purple. So I think I might go these colors together and these ones together. So I'll start with this lot here. I'll put them on the others. So I'll just work out my placement. So what I actually kind of want is the flowers to sort of nestle around the design. So I kind of work out that first because, and I'll bring this up to you guys so you can see. So I hope that you can see without me moving it. It's from Spotlight Alicia. So I'm literally just going to nestle it that way, and then I'm going to have the other one with a very similar layout. The leaves are in Design Space. I'll find the image number for you guys later. I just forgot to grab it this time. Alrighty, so I'm going to, now that I know how I want it placed, I'm just going to, you could use any glue, but I'm just going to put like a dab of hot glue on the back of like the leaves just to hold them in place a little bit. It doesn't have to be hot glue. But I figure that I've got it open now. Hot glue is what I used on the other one. I don't mind if the leaves sit up a little. Now, I don't take credit for this design. 100% I saw this design on Instagram by another crafter in the US. I really liked the idea. She didn't paint hers though. She did hers all out of stencil. So I thought, you know, I'd create something similar but a little bit different. So I'm just gluing the leaves down at the moment, trying not to get hot glue everywhere. You can layer up your leaves so that they're a little bit more, I guess, bulky, but I'm quite happy with them being a little bit flatter, especially because the other ones are flat on the sign that said trust the process that I did. So I'm just going to glue that down. I'm going to glue the other big one down where it kind of looks nice. You just got to be careful not to flatten it. So if you feel like you're putting too much pressure on the petals, just grab your little wooden dowel and press like in the middle where the stamen is. And then, did I like it there? Yeah, that'll do. I'm really not fussy. I think that this will go in my craft room. I'm not selling it. So I'm really happy with it being creative and fun. And if I feel like I need to add anything more to it, I'll add something to it later. So that's what we've turned out to be. It's not perfect. There's that little bit here that I hate how it looks like it's got a gap. But I will repeat the same process with the scissors. I specifically have the scissors facing another way so that they look like they're kind of bookends to my Trust the Process piece. So for those of you, as a reminder, this is the two pieces that are going, or two of the pieces that are going to go with each other. So I'm not really sure 100% how I'm going to present them. I haven't really thought too far ahead, but I just really liked the idea of doing something, because when I purchased this, I got this one at the same time and then thought, oh, I may as well do another third piece. So I'm just going to check to see if I've missed anything. I can see that there's been a couple of people helping me out, so I do apologize. So the pick on the board is a hot glue gun. I wanted something, I work with a lot of hot glue guns, so the name of the box is just called Hanging Box, but the link is in the description, Rhiannon, so by all means just jump on the description. I've got all the links to the products that I used except for the file for the leaves, and I think I haven't put a link in for my ruler or my paint or anything like that, because the paint was just from a cheap shop or a discount store. Hi Brad. Yes, lives are back, but you'll be able to watch it back after I'm finished. We're not far from that. White boxes and frames on clearance. I bought one today for $7. Look, they're all on special. They're between, I think online this small one is $5 and the large one is $7 online at the moment. So it might be a special everywhere. Is there any other questions before I let you guys all go? Like, I hope that well, maybe not me, but I hope that, you know, everybody else has been able to answer your questions. It's all paint, Nicole. It's all a stencil and paint. So none of this is vinyl stuck on it. It's not going to come off later. It's all painted on. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, so you guys all seem to have all the answers. I'll go through and answer anything that I haven't already discussed with you guys, but just remember that all of the links I've provided for you so that I didn't have to keep answering it. Next week's live will be Jules. She's going to do, correct me if I'm wrong, she's probably not watching, but a Valentine's Day box. I don't know what that will have. I'm excited to see what it will come out like, because really it's only 2 weeks until Valentine's Day, and my hubby's at this stage getting nothing or a glue gun frame that I can have in my room. So yes, I definitely need to go sit in front of the aircon now. I'm like sweating here, I'm like rolling down my face. You could definitely use vinyl, Alicia, but I think that the surface of the board is very rough, so it may not stick very well, especially because it's got the grooves of the wood joining. All good? Well, it's been lovely to come back and see you guys. Keep sending your feedback through for the lives that you would like to see. So even though we write our list of what we're going to do throughout the year, things change as products get released or as people keep asking for things. So keep your feedback coming to admin. If you don't want to post it on the page, send us a private message. Thanks for being an amazing group, and we look forward to an amazing 2020. I know we're 1 month in already and we're just doing our first live, but we look forward to spending a lot more time with you guys and showing you guys and inspiring you with what we have to come. So enjoy, everybody. Thanks for telling me to go eat like I'm a child. And I will see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Now I've got to go around there and turn it off.